Tropical Storm Chris, the third named storm of the season, is expected to become a hurricane off the Carolinas by Monday. The storm continued to strengthen Sunday, but stagnated about 200 miles off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, according to an 11 p.m. advisory. The storm's maximum sustained winds were 60 miles per hour, and forecasters expect it to increase through Tuesday. Chris will likely remain off the coast of the Carolinas for the next 2 or 3 days before heading northeast on Tuesday. The storm isn't expected to pose a threat to the U.S., but it could impact the east coast of Canada. Nova Scotia and Newfoundland are in the probable path of the storm. Swells generated by Chris are expected to increase and affect portions of the coasts of North Carolina and the mid-Atlantic states early next week, causing life-threatening surf and rip current conditions.
You have to imagine a top spinning along the ground. The faster it is, it's standing straight up. It's symmetrical. That's a Category 5 hurricane. But as it begins to slow down or decrease in intensity, it'll start to warble. It moves a lot. And that really determines how rough a flight you're going to have. Well, I got my degree in meteorology from Florida State University. I did weather for active duty military for about 5 years, and then became an Air Force Reserve hurricane hunter. I have over 1,000 hours flying in the WC-130H and J. Every storm is different. Every storm has a personality. I think that's part of the reason why they give them different names. The way I look at it, if you fly through the eye of a hurricane and don't believe in God at that point, I don't see how you can afterwards. Let's say you go to a doctor and you have a tumor, some growth inside your body. You want to know what it is. You're concerned. Is it dangerous or is it not? So you go to the doctor, they take an x-ray. What is an x-ray going to tell you? It's going to tell you you got a tumor. But is it cancerous? Is it malignant? Is it just a cyst? You don't know. The only thing a doctor can do to find out is to take a biopsy. We're doing the same thing inside of a hurricane because we're the biopsy of that storm. We can give you that sample that tell our experts at the Hurricane Center what the storm is, what it's going to do. It gives you the complete sample of that hurricane. They're critical decisions our leaders have to make, whether they're evacuating personnel, our aircraft to different locations, depend heavily on the reserve citizen airmen and their collection of data that makes that forecast more reliable. How important is weather to the overall Air Force mission? How important is weather to the overall Department of Defense mission? Maybe one battle, one war, that weather didn't play a part. Anything else?
My name is Chief Master Sergeant Rick Cumbo, and I'm the load master on this plane. It's a C-130J model. My primary crew duties are I'm in charge of basically everything back here, 245, bulkhead 245, and back. My primary duties is a load master, so I load the plane, I handle passengers, any cargo we have basically. But on a weather mission, I'm basically the drop-zone operator on the plane, and we'll basically use these drop-zons. We'll drop these out of the bottom of the airplane, and they'll collect data as they fall. It'll collect the temperature. It's got a GPS sensor in there to collect the winds, to collect the pressure, and we'll drop these in various areas of the storm to find out weather data. We're mainly concerned with, in a hurricane, the eye wall, this will give us the max winds, and also in the center of the storm, it'll give us the pressures of the storm. And we'll take that, I'll take that data, and the system will collect the data. I'll take and put the data into a weather format that the rest of the world can read. I'll QC it, send it over to the weather officer, and the weather officer will send it off to the Hurricane Center in Miami, and they actually make the forecast of where the storms are going. Okay, right now we're flying in Hurricane Sandy, and Sandy is not just a typical storm. It's got very low pressures. It doesn't have that much wind associated with it as far as the pressure goes, but it's a vast system. It's a big, wide system, and instead of being a small, condensed hurricane like most of them are, this is affecting the whole eastern seaboard. All the data I collect with the SONS, along with this vertical data, along with the horizontal data that ORWA is collecting, is vital to the forecasting of where the storm is going. If we can get good data into the models that predict where the storm is going, they're able to reduce the evacuation area of the storms along the East Coast. So you don't have to evacuate such a big area. You can concentrate on just a state or a couple of states. I've been with the Hurricane Hunter since '98, and I've always been kind of fascinated with weather. I came into active duty as a weather forecaster, and actually probably my first experience with a hurricane was actually Hurricane Gloria, because I lived on the East Coast, and seeing Hurricane Gloria kind of fascinated me with weather. So I wanted to get involved with weather, and I did 10 years of active duty in weather, and then I came over to the Hurricane Hunters in '98, and have been here ever since. Well, I guess since I've lived on the coast my whole life, just coming out here and collecting the data and knowing that our data actually goes to good use, it helps in the forecasting these storms and evacuating and notifying people along the coast. It's actually a good feeling to know you're doing something that counts.